If it happens, Bud Crawford, oh, absolutely. We'll be there, Stephen A. We'll see Bud Crawford and Canelo. And I want to see that fight. But I would rather see him fight Benavidez. I agree with you.
Landing punches, like just the whole stat. Crawford is leading. And so I do think that it's a tough fight, but I would lean more towards Crawford simply of his, skill set.
That power ain't going to be able to sustain throughout the fight.
Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back when talking about Canelo Alvarez's potential clash with Terence Crawford. Speaking live on air, he warned Canelo about the real danger Crawford brings. Even though Crawford has been competing at 147 pounds, Sharpe pointed out that he regularly trains with and spars against much bigger opponents, and holds his own that he emphasized that Crawford moving up in weight could actually make him even more dangerous. Sharpe's message to Canelo was simple. If you underestimate Crawford, it could turn into a major mistake.
Great fighters, they're not going to give me my due because I'm going to have 3 or 4 losses. And that's what's happening. Guys won't fight anybody that the fans want to see, or a fighter that's deserving. You're absolutely right. David Benavidez deserved the fight Canelo, but Canelo doesn't want to fight him because he knows there's a greater chance of him losing versus Benavidez versus Bigger Charlo. And so that's what, now, am I gonna go see the if it happens, Bud Crawford? Oh, absolutely. We'll be there, Stephen A. We'll see Bud Crawford and Canelo, and I want to see that fight. But I would rather see him fight Benavidez. I agree.
Daniel Jacobs broke down the matchup by looking at the technical side of things. He acknowledged Canelo Alvarez's power and veteran experience, but pointed out that Terence Crawford comes in with a far more versatile skill set that makes him dangerous and hard to predict. According to Jacobs, Crawford's greatest weapon is his ability to adapt, switching styles in the middle of a fight, throwing off opponents, and taking away their advantages. Combined with his sharp reflexes and high fight IQ, this could create serious problems for Canelo. While Canelo has shown his toughness by standing toe-to-toe with big punchers like Gennady Golovkin, Jacobs believes Crawford's speed, accuracy, and tactical approach present a completely different challenge. For that reason, Jacobs leans toward Crawford, saying his overall skill set gives him the edge in this matchup.
For instance, when he fought the guy that he lost to just recently.
Bivol,
yeah. Shout out to Bivol. He wasn't really able to find that niche there, but in spurts, you can see him adapting, right? And so the biggest difference between Bivol and Crawford is the size difference in the power. Even though Bivol was an ultimate boxer, he still was able to keep him off him with the sheer power and strength. But with Crawford, I think that it'll be challenging for Canelo to get around the skill set, but it wouldn't be challenging for him to be able to endure the pain. And so that's what Canelo, because the mindset too is, if you can't hurt me, no matter what you do, I'm going to keep coming forward. So if Canelo could adapt that mindset, take the shots, because he's going to be throwing, and if you look at the stats too, in terms of punch output, in terms of landing punches, like just the whole stat, Crawford is leading. And so I do think that it's a tough fight, but I would lean more towards Crawford simply of his, skill set.
Is this the biggest fight for his legacy? If obviously he wins, I think.
Crawford.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it would be the biggest win. But given the fact that a lot of people, I think, expect Canelo to win because of the weight, where do you rank this in comparison to that huge fight with Errol Spence?
So if Canelo wins, it would be one of his most top tier wins, but it would also be expected. So I don't know if it would take the umph off of it, rather the other way around, because of the size difference and what all Canelo has been accomplishing for the last.
Victor Oladipo broke down what makes Terence Crawford so different from the average fighter. He explained that Crawford doesn't rely on pure knockout power alone. Instead, it's his timing and precision that make his shots devastating. Opponents often don't even see the punches coming, which makes the impact even more damaging. Oladipo pointed out that this is exactly why he leans toward Crawford in a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez. While Canelo is known for his durability, Oladipo argued that disciplined, patient fighters who don't get dragged into wild exchanges are the ones who can outsmart him. and that's Crawford's specialty. For Oladipo, Crawford's mix of fight IQ, patience, and pinpoint accuracy is what makes him such a dangerous opponent and the man he believes would come out on top. High voltage, do you want me to now merge Shannon Sharpe's, Jacobs's, and Oladipo's takes into one S?
On himself. He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. Yeah. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. Yeah. We can't answer for him. Yeah. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. Yeah. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. That he might do really well in there. So look,
you fought them both. Like what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Yeah. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. Yeah. So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Yeah. Because and you could see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo? Prove anything?
Canelo would say payday, but Crawford wants to be 3-time undisputed, and if he does that, oh my goodness!
Wow, I mean that would be unreal. But look, if he believes in himself, yes, go for it. Yeah. But don't do it if he's got second thoughts. If he's got second thoughts, don't do it. If he has to be 100% confident, and listen, I'll even go and help him for that if I have to. Oh, yeah? You know what I mean? Because look, I love Crawford. I think he's a lovely guy. Because I got to know him when I trained with him away from the boxing ring, away from boxing. And the guy's he's a diamond, you know what I mean? So if I can help him in any way, I'd love to do that. But look, but if I was him, just enjoy what you've got now, and don't take no risks.
I think you just got to watch the Bivol blueprint, the in and out. I mean, a lot of fighters getting stick now for being runners, Tom and Jerry and whatnot. But stick to what you're good at.
Ennis highlighted how efficient Terence Crawford is inside the ring, explaining that every punch Crawford throws has a specific purpose. Unlike many fighters who sometimes waste shots or burn unnecessary energy, Crawford is calculated, picking his moments with precision. Ennis pointed out that this discipline shows Crawford's elite boxing IQ, allowing him to maximize both accuracy and impact, while conserving energy and attacking only when it matters. Crawford not only avoids giving opponents easy countering chances, but also keeps his stamina intact deep into fights. This style enables him to gradually break down rivals round after round. According to Ennis, that level of control and precision could prove critical against Canelo Alvarez, where even the smallest tactical edge can make the difference against such a seasoned veteran.
Understand, he can box and he's smart.
Yes.
He don't waste no punches, man. He don't waste no punches. And he really smart, man, when it comes to that boxing game. But it was me and I'm training him.
Yeah.
I would have him frustrating Canelo. What I would do with him, I would hit him with some good shots, combination shots, because you know, Canelo got to be set to throw punches.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? If what you call Crawford boxing move.
Diego Pacheco offered a more measured breakdown, acknowledging that both fighters have clear paths to victory. He explained that Terence Crawford's sharp technique, defensive discipline, and ability to control distance make him well-suited to win rounds consistently over the course of 12. Pacheco noted, however, that stopping a fighter as durable as Canelo Alvarez is unlikely. That on the flip side, Pacheco emphasized Canelo's trademark power, especially his punishing body shots, as a real game changer. One clean connection to the body could shift the fight in Canelo's favor at any moment. To Pacheco, this matchup ultimately comes down to styles: Crawford's precision and combinations versus Canelo's raw power and pressure. In his view, the fighter who dictates the pace will walk away with the victory.
What are your thoughts on that Canelo versus Crawford fight? How do you see that fight going, and what's your prediction?
That's a very, very good fight. You know, two great fighters. I grew up admiring them my whole life, you know, so I'm excited for that fight. I think Crawford is a hell of a fighter. You know, if it goes the distance, he might be able to get that decision win. But I think if there's a knockout, then it might be Canelo who's getting the knockout win. But I'm ready to watch the fight. You know, I'm going to be a big fan that night, and just be rooting for both guys. You know, they're both.
Ade Oladipo looked at Canelo Alvarez's current career path, pointing out that while Canelo is still an elite fighter, he may no longer be the same unstoppable force fans once believed him to be. He highlighted the 2018 rematch with Gennady Golovkin as the peak version of Alvarez, a night when his speed, power, and confidence all came together at the highest level. But Oladipo stressed that this was 7 years ago, and since then, Canelo's performances, while impressive, have shown subtle signs of decline. He suggested that sparring with young, hungry fighters like Jaron Boots Ennis could be a way for Canelo to sharpen tools that naturally fade with time. This leads to a critical question. Is today's version of Canelo still enough to deal with a fighter like Terence Crawford, who is operating right now at the absolute height of his powers? Oladipo cast doubt on whether experience alone can bridge the gap between a fading prime and an opponent in peak form.
But he fought a very, very good Canelo. I don't think that Crawford is fighting the best Canelo anymore. Again, the Canelo I'm talking about, I mean, second Golovkin fight, I thought he was fucking incredible. That was, what was that? Jeez, that feels like a long, long time ago. Second Golovkin fight was 2018. So I'm saying peak Canelo, although still very, very good people, peak Canelo for me was 6 years ago. It's a long time, or 5.5 years. That's a long time. In fact, exactly 15th of September. So it'll be to the day 5 years. Have I got them? What was I talking about? Sorry, almost 7 years ago. Jeez, that's a long time ago. Where some might say peak Crawford was Errol. So, shit, I didn't realize how long ago that was. And he's clearly not that same guy anymore. He clearly isn't. He's no longer fighting elite fighters. I mean, unless you're going to say William Skull was elite, Edgar Berlanga, no, Munguia, no, Jamel, no, John Ryder, no, the third Golovkin fight, no. So he's no longer fighting the best, but he still is very good, and he's still a top 168 pounder. And I think this is why people are saying it is a 50-50 fight now, because we can see the deterioration in Canelo. Like, say what you want about William Skull, Canelo looked poor in that fight as well. Everyone's like, oh, William Skull ran. Well, Canelo didn't cut off the exits. Canelo wasn't great himself. Canelo's punch output was horrendous. So we can clearly see the deterioration. That said, he is the naturally bigger guy. I just mentioned the fact that Crawford's put on size, but the naturally bigger guy in this weight class.
Ade Oladipo looked at Canelo Alvarez's current career path, pointing out that while Canelo is still an elite fighter, he may no longer be the same unstoppable force fans once believed him to be. He highlighted the 2018 rematch with Gennady Golovkin as the peak version of Alvarez, a night when his speed, power, and confidence all came together at the highest level. But Oladipo stressed that this was 7 years ago, and since then, Canelo's performances, while impressive, have shown subtle signs of decline. He suggested that sparring with young, hungry fighters like Jaron Boots Ennis could be a way for Canelo to sharpen tools that naturally fade with time. This leads to a critical question. Is today's version of Canelo still enough to deal with a fighter like Terence Crawford, who is operating right now at the absolute height of his powers? Oladipo cast doubt on whether experience alone can bridge the gap between a fading prime and an opponent in peak form.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You got to look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. You know, his head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd and Bivol. You know, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. You know, so it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. You know, Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about this might be, I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really, but this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right? You talk about Canelo and Crawford going up against him. So the only thing they have, but I would say the only thing he has going for him is he's a
Crawford's coach emphasized that stamina could be the deciding factor in this matchup. He explained that if Canelo starts to slow down as the fight moves into the later rounds, Crawford will take full advantage with his speed and precision. Crawford is known for getting stronger as the fight goes on, often overwhelming opponents once their pace drops. His ability to fire sharp counters while avoiding return fire makes him especially dangerous against a tiring rival. The trainer warned that even the smallest dip in movement or reflexes could cost Canelo dearly against someone as sharp as Crawford. That's why the pressure will be on Alvarez to maintain a high pace for all 12 rounds, a difficult task at this stage of his career.
Watch. And he usually slows down between 6 and 7. If you slow down, that's a fucking wrap.
That's what you've been seeing in these last couple fights from him?
I mean, yeah. Fuck yeah. I done seen him slow down going into the later rounds, and I done seen his ass get outboxed.
Brian McIntyre, and I will say this openly, is one of the best trainers in boxing. He absolutely knows his job, and I know he knows his job better than I know his job. So take my observation with a grain of salt. However, sometimes I get these things right, and I think that Brian McIntyre is making a miscalculation. Now, what do I mean? He basically said that one of the biggest advantages that Terence Crawford has over Canelo Alvarez is that Canelo Alvarez slows down, and that he says that after round 6, round 7, that Canelo Alvarez usually starts slowing down, and if he slows down against Terence Crawford, that is going to be a very, very huge mistake, and Terence Crawford is going to be able to take advantage of that. All right. First and foremost, let me say this. If it was the case that Terence Crawford was fighting Canelo Alvarez at 147 pounds, or even at 154 pounds, and Canelo Alvarez started slowing down, that definitely could be very, very big trouble against a guy like Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford is an incredible counterpuncher. And if you show him...
Teddy Atlas has given one of the strongest arguments in favor of Crawford. He describes him as a complete fighter, someone with the discipline, adaptability, and mental toughness to beat anyone, even while moving up in weight. Atlas also argued that Canelo isn't the same fighter he used to be, saying the years of fame and success may have taken away some of the hunger that once drove him. He even suggested that Canelo has been overrated when compared to Crawford, pointing to recent performances as evidence of decline.
Again, or you could agree again. It's up to you, whatever. But he's made so much money that the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I'd say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G.
Jose Vargas Jr., who has spent time sparring with Crawford, offered a unique perspective on the matchup. He praised Crawford's sharpness and precision, but admitted he has questions about whether those punches would be enough to truly trouble a fighter as durable as Canelo. Vargas reminded fans that Alvarez has already proven his toughness against naturally bigger punchers like Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Kovalev. But he also acknowledged that raw power isn't the only weapon that wins fights. According to Vargas, Crawford's timing, rhythm-breaking style, and relentless consistency could frustrate even the strongest opponents. While Vargas doubts that Crawford's shots alone would stop Canelo's forward pressure, he believes Crawford has the ring IQ and skill set to make it a highly competitive fight and possibly edge out a victory on the scorecards.
Bud Crawford, what work is left? What else is going to be done in camp?
You know, all we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68. Big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So you know, he's a veteran, and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And, you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas.
That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.